Thomas Jefferson to go and explore the uncharted western lands. Their journey began in 1804. They left St. Louis and were headed for the west coast shores. And they were walking, they were walking from the Midwest to the West Coast.
Hey, everybody, we're live and direct. And you know what? There's more people coming. Welcome, everybody, to the lovely, lovely live stream at the end, the final hour. It's the final countdown.
This is exciting. Let me do a little round of intros, and I think we're going to have more people popping in and popping out for this little celebration, and then not everyone can stay for all this time. But thanks, everyone, for who's watching, and thanks for everyone who's backed this campaign, because holy cow, we knocked it out of the park. You all did an amazing job in supporting this campaign, and we can't thank you enough. But we have Sen-Fung Lim, one of the designers of this game. We have Daniel Cunningham, man. He's our tray and storage master designer, and with his little 1.5-month baby there. Oh, that's just adorable. We're getting cute credits on this one. This is great. We have David from Pei Matawai. Oh, I butchered it again. I screwed it up. Pei Matawai. Say it. You say it. How do you say it again?
Keep making Jay say it.
Hey, Matawe? No, that's not it.
That's close.
Okay, and he's been helping us with our culture consulting for the whole campaign and even before the campaign, which is wonderful. And Joe McNamara, he's our customer solutions manager extraordinaire, who's been helping with comments and with all of our emails that go to help@offthepagegames.com. So that's amazing.
And he's also our third partner in well, Jay wasn't really playing in the final Let's Play game. So.
The Fog, yeah. Hey, well, he was in both. Joe was the main guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Joe did both. Joe's awesome.
Yeah, he did both. So feel free to ask questions in the side. Greens from Denmark. That's awesome. Thanks, Eric, Luke, Mad, Skaz. Ice Hammer's here. This is great. Schrittstein, Ice, and Spud. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So, geez, I'm going to start with David because I know you have to go. So, David, we approached you, let's say like early, obviously, before when we had first announced this game. And the game's title was exactly the same as the comic book title, which was Manifest Destiny, until we realized, well, wait a second, that doesn't necessarily sit well on a shelf. And so, David, talk about your perspective of us coming to you and what your company as a consulting firm does to help navigate these kind of things.
Sure. Yeah. I'm actually on the road right now on my way to an engagement session this afternoon, which is why I got to duck out a little bit early. But yeah, our goal with Pimedaway Consulting is really just to uplift marginalized voices. So being Indigenous, being Cree myself, obviously it's important to support Indigenous folks and make sure that Indigenous representation is done respectfully and that non-Indigenous folks really understand the complicated history that Indigenous people have experienced through colonization and through marginalization over the last couple hundred years. But also we do a lot of work with the queer community as well. A big part of our mandate is to uplift queer voices, support the trans community, support the broader LGBTQ2S+ community. So yeah, it's really important to us to make sure that all marginalized folks that intersect with the things that we do in the tabletop industry and other work is done. And in terms of working with Off the Page Games, it was really exciting to us to have you reach out to us. Full disclosure, I haven't played Harrow County or Mind Management yet.
It's all right.
They're on my playlist. I backed the campaign and added Harrow County to my own pledge. But no, it was really exciting for us to be able to support. I known Sen for a little bit longer. I was a guest on the Maple
Syrup Show.
Yeah, I can never remember the name. Sorry.
It's just like Pimedaway.
Yeah, exactly. See how easy that rolled off his tongue?
Yeah, Pimedaway. I got it now.
I'm a big comic fan, a big Image Comics fan. I'd actually never heard of Manifest Destiny, the comic, before you'd reached out to us, but I've read most of it. Yeah, and I think the original creator did as good of a job as they could with, doing proper representation of Indigenous folks. I did a little bit of digging into the representation of some of the tribes mentioned, and it seemed like there was a lot of intention behind it. And I know both you and Sen had read and shared the initial letter from the author of the comic talking about his journey through, exploring the concept of Manifest Destiny and what that really means. And it is a difficult term. It's a difficult piece of history. But my stance on these things always is that we can't erase history. We can't change the complicated past of Indigenous colonization. And so, I don't think the comic or the game is really designed to promote or, encourage the idea of Manifest Destiny or support it. It's really about exploring that piece of history, that time in history, and exploring the game itself is more about kind of taking place in that period. But I think the game design is really interesting, and I think it's I'm really excited to get it to my own table, and I'm really excited to see people's reaction to it.
It's awesome. Appreciate you having you on board and helping guide us through this before we launched everything. We got Sebastian now who is on the call. Sebastian Kostner is our amazing graphic designer. Couldn't do any of this without him, so thanks for joining us, Sebastian.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So yeah, absolutely. If you have questions, come on in and ask away to any of us. I'm going to move over to Daniel because he's got a baby and we have no idea how long he may or may not last.
Sure. No, I mean, yeah, my wife just said, hey, take the baby for a bit. And I was like, sure, I'm going live, but maybe first live stream, I guess. But, I'm Dan. I'm kind of just an engineer extraordinaire. And as Jay mentioned, I've been here to kind of help, especially with the storage stuff. I joined Jay with Harrow County, and we did some really cool stuff with that, both that in-box cube tower. That was a really fun design for me because it was kind of an interesting challenge to make a fold-up cube tower out of a single sheet of punch board that the factory could assemble, and so that was really cool. But based on that and all that experience, it was really great working with Jay. He asked me to come back for Core Discovery and said, hey, let's do something cool with resources. And so out of that came the one you just showed off in the latest Kickstarter update, is that neat little resource tray that has the lid that flips over, goes underneath, can tilt it for you. And then I came up with, instead of doing like a printed tray, but still we want a way to indicate the resources, what if we folded up a piece of card that goes inside there? And that's the first time I've seen that, and it seems like it's going to work really well. And then additionally for that deluxe premium box, the underneath tray with all those little pop-up lids, I think that's going to be really snazzy and hold everything really nice. So I've had a lot of fun kind of being able to engineer the heck out of the fun stuff to make it easy to play, easy to set up, and store in kind of as small as package as possible, which when there's a ton of stuff in a box, that can be tricky, but I had a lot of fun with that. So. And I had a baby a month ago, so I'm happy that we got all that work done before the baby came.
Yeah, it's been amazing working with you because your brain just works in a different way as far as the three-dimensionality of it. And I love being on a call with you and you've got your program open and you're sliding things around. And it's great. We're
able to brainstorm those together and like in real time. You and I have had fun kind of, all right, what if this goes over here now? What if it goes over here? What if it's stored that way? And we've come up with some good solutions.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Obviously the Cube Tower Harrow County was just fantastic to see and have that exist, but the storage solutions here for Core Discovery has been I don't think people fully can understand it yet how it all works, but just the fact that the Deluxe and Ultimate have this this thick cardboard thing and it pops out like it's just a pop out cardboard thing, and on the back it's got like the I was gonna say ingredients, a component list of everything that goes in that little well, and so all the expansion stuff goes in that well and then it pops back on. It's going to be really, really cool.
I mean, that's something that's always asked for, is like whenever you're working on a storage, which I've probably done 15 game storage solutions for now. It's always a trade-off between you want to make it a functional tray so that it's easy to organize and easy to bring right to the table in often cases. But you also want to make it so that it's not too packed, because then people are like, I can't get, it's so hard to get everything in there. But you also don't want it too big, because then everything makes the box bigger. So there's all these interesting engineering trade-offs that happen. And I think the solution that we came up here with is, you get that the resource tray that comes right out, sits on the table, boom, that's done. And then each chapter, each kind of module is in one little box. That's really, like you said, the ingredients list on the back, that really helps that organization. So I feel like we did a good job kind of trying to capture all of those requirements all at the same time. And that's not an easy feat, and it is tough, but and I think that people, when they get them, are going to really like it. It's hard to show all of those facts on a Kickstarter page.
It is. And then just to clear it up, because I know this is the number one question that gets asked of you, Daniel, is like, hey, does this storage solution accommodate sleeved cards?
Always asked, and yes. Yeah. So, I actually, in my years of doing this now, I have a big old spreadsheet with like every brand of sleeve, every size of sleeve, with every measurement on it. So they all.
And I'd like to thank you so much, Daniel. I'd like to also, and if anybody has to pop off, you just pop off whenever you need to if you got stuff to do. Thank you so much for sticking around as long as you want to. And I'd like to welcome Rafa and Ori. So thanks so much for hopping on, guys. Ori is our video maker extraordinaire. So he made this video, he made my Harrow County video, he made my mind management video. Ori is the video man. He makes our videos. And I'll introduce Rafa, and then we'll go back to Ori. Rafa, this is a funny story with Rafa. It's kind of like with what happened with Joe as well, actually, where in Harrow County, I mentioned, hey, to just everybody, hey, sorry, there's going to be no TTS mod because it's got a cube tower, and TTS doesn't do physics. Like we tried throwing things in, and things bounce out, and then Rafa, as a backer, just said, I think I have an idea of how it could work. Talk us through how you solve that problem, and then we'll move into core discovery. No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
So, hey everyone. Yeah. very nice
Yeah.
to be here. So yeah, basically, like I was adventuring myself with Tabletop Simulator for a while, like doing some personal mods and doing some understanding the language behind the programming part of Tabletop. And then I was seeing a live stream about Harrow County, and I was very interested into the game. And I was seeing you guys struggling to create like the box, like the dice tower. And I was thinking, like, me as a software engineer, like I work as a software engineer, I thought, okay, I could solve this with scripts instead of physics, So I just offered, like, okay, if you guys want, I can do this. And my main motive at the time was like, I want to play this game. So this would unlock me to play the game that I want to play, And then, like, I was surprised that you all answered my message, and like we shared some messages, and I was able to share the idea that I have, like the proof of concept. And it worked really nice. So yeah, it was a very nice achievement for me, let's say.
It was so good. It was such a good idea. And then he helped polish it up and everything. It was great. So I was appreciative. And then when I was starting to work on core discovery, I had a very basic mode for it, but it was just more for testing, not for public consumption. And then, so I kind of reached out to Rafa again, like, hey, Rafa, that was all fun back then, but can I like now pay you as an official, person to do this? And he's like, I guess, yeah. So, and then he went above and beyond. I don't know if you checked it out, either from one of our live streams that Sen and I did when we played, or just from yourself playing it, but just like, it's got a great UI with like this book that opens up and you choose the chapter, and then you get to choose the map and all this kind of like things that just make it extra, just makes it easier to play, and everything makes sense. It starts and it has a little arrow highlighting the rock. Hey, don't forget to place the rock on the map. Like that's kind of stuff, just really smart stuff. So, Rafa, that was any challenges with core discovery? I guess like even stuff like the maps and making sure people couldn't press Alt on it to accidentally see everything. Like you disabled that, which was really nice.
Yeah, like my main challenge was to create like the solution of the map, like creating different layers on how to change the map based on the UI, the chapter that you selected. So the idea on how I created this on Tabletop Simulator was kind of really fun to me, to think about different ideas that I could do this, to solve this with scripting again. And like you mentioned, the way that I was blocking the user to not be able to preview the below layer, to not like spoil the map. So yeah, it was really fun, like having to work with many different setups. For me, it was nice to create like a very nice foundation of code that I could just change small parts here and there, and then like all of the chapters would work fine with different setups. I think you are muted, Jay.
Hello.
Hello. No, somebody was. I think there's Kyle's here in the green room, but his mic. He's watching the stream, so I can hear it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me though?
Oh yeah. Now I can.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was just saying thanks so much, Rafa. That was amazing. And we had Iced Hammer comment in the comments saying that he played the TDS mod once and then immediately backed the game because the mod was so good. So that's so great, so great. And now we have that like forever. It's going to exist as a thing, which is so great.
Yeah, idea.
Let's move over to Ori, video extraordinaire. So Ori,
everybody's extraordinaire.
Well, here's the secret to success. If you want to know what the secret to success is, look at this video screen right now, because you surround yourself with smart and creative and brilliant people, and you're going to do wonderful things. Like that's how you do good in this world. So Ori, I first reached out to you back when I don't know if you were starting out, but you were newer than now, I guess, but with Mind Management, right? And I think you're muted.
No, Ori's not muted.
I can't hear you. Maybe you're muted on your end.
Are you muted on your end, Ori? Technical issues.
Yeah. He's looking in the settings.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Great. I was wondering how my kids are doing a little bit of noise in the background. It's really Independence Day. So, yeah. So, wow. Yeah, it was, I think the second video, Mind Management was the second video I've done in 3D in Blender. I don't know if I revealed this to you yet, but I didn't actually know how to use Blender. I sort of, figured it out.
Blender has got a super high barrier to entry, but when you get it to work, it's great.
No, it's when you have a deadline, you get it to work. That's what you need to do. That's the best way to learn a new skill. You set yourself a deadline and have a commitment to it, and that's it. And we also had the opportunity to do an updated version of that video for the deluxe version.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was fantastic, because then I could literally see how my shitty skills totally improved. And I think, I've been with you on a continuous basis. You're like the longest client I've had to do like videos from different eras of
your skill set.
Of our skill sets, and that the core of Discovery wasn't me anymore. It was like a whole team that worked on it, and I always love that you give us a chance to really go completely crazy with it.
This is what I like. I'm going to say my 2 cents on this is that and this is true for pretty much everyone on this call. It's like, even if I had the most perfect idea in my head of what a certain part of this campaign or game would look like, it would not be as good without all y'all here. And in case in point with Ori. Like I'll say, here's what I think the video should be like, and then we actually work through the script together. Like I'll bring him the script and we'll work through it, because he's like a master not at just coding the video, like making the video, animating and everything, but at storytelling and about bringing the salient points to people so they understand what's going on. And so we would work through that process. I'm like, yeah, that's a better script. And then once I see the first cut of it, it's like, I didn't have any of that in my head. Like that was not anything. Like it's just amazing the value you bring to this from the video perspective. Just like the first part I get, like the comic and they're interacting and it's great, but that was in my head somewhat like that. And then all of a sudden we cut to this arch and it's like going through the forest and up into and then it pans down. Like that's an amazing shot. It's just an amazing shot. So it was really good. And then of course all the rest of it's just everything about it's just amazing. And that voice actor. That's amazing. He's great. And I didn't realize it was the same voice actor for Harrow County and for Core Discovery. Yeah. And he was great. He sounded totally different in both of them. So it's
Brian
really
Stivale.
Yeah.
I love working with him. He's so good. He's done really wildly different things. He did a pirate voice and he did a squeaky cartoonish voice in another one. He has such a huge versatility. But originally we used them for like as a Roman. It was like a Roman centurion.
Wow.
I thought that was his MO, but turns out he can do anything. But yeah, I actually have the project open here. You can, and it might be interesting to show that we literally did the entire like map of the region. So
what you can share your screen. There's a top left. There's a share screen thing.
Let me see. Let me see if I can do that.
He's not here, but
share screen, entire screen.
Sen's gonna have to do some juggling if he can.
There we go.
He's got to show. He's got to click it to share it.
Let me know when you can see this.
He's moving stuff around. He's got to boot people out. Don't worry. We'll bring it back in. Kyle just joined us too, so we'll get him in too.
So, all right. So here you can really see that this is the frame of the video. This is obviously not final render. This video we had to render a lot of times because we wanted really high quality renders.
That's not my fault, is it? It is.
No.
About 9 of them were my
this
fault.
might seem like it's just like a background picture, but no, this is actually. This is the full map.
You can go exploring.
Yeah, you can go really down there. And if you continue, you get like to the next state over. No, but here you notice something weird happens.
Did you build that in like Minecraft or something? You just goes forever.
So if you can see, like the textures suddenly get really weird.
Right.
Because this is these street artists that paint something that if you look at it from a certain point of view, it looks 3D.
Right.
So that's the same thing here. Basically,
oh my gosh.
only if you see it from this direction, then it sort of gets that sense. And right now you can't even see. This is covered with trees because that's like a particle effect. And here we have the infamous arch. The arch is literally lifted from the comics.
Wow, and 3D-ized.
You can see it actually has a hole here. And we have the whole forest leading up to it.
Goodness.
Which was more detailed. So this one actually has like all the trees and the leaves and the plants. Again, I can't show everything, otherwise it'll crash my computer.
Yeah.
Some missing textures. You can see down here, there's a pile of assets usually hidden underneath.
Yeah, right. That's how I work.
That looks like our board game design page.
Well,
just
here,
icons everywhere.
And the funny thing is also here we like scattered the area around with things which are references from the comic book. If you can, we always want to hide a few Easter eggs. So yeah, inside this jar there's a huge mosquito. I wonder if we'll be able to see it if we here.
There it is.
Oh,
it.
There it is. We have the spear, the hat.
Yeah. So
and
great.
Here, this was actually not shown in the video because we just never got an angle which was shown.
Oh.
But this file actually has a severed finger in it with the plants growing out of that. If you read the comics, you know what that's about.
Perfect.
And obviously muskets. And honestly, I don't know what this is. I think this is just pieces of wood. But yeah.
Just random wood.
Yeah. And look what's inside here.
Oh my gosh.
He was here the whole time. And in 3D, we literally, rather than like making objects disappear and reappear, it's just so much easier to literally hide them under the table when they're not supposed to be visible.
Don't look over here. Don't look over here.
So yeah, just.
Oh, that's really cool, buddy. Oh,
super cool.
Neat little behind the scenes stuff. So that's wonderful, and I can't wait to work with you on the next project.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be.
Oh, hey, we're minus one baby.
Well, we're down a baby.
Down a baby.
My wife came back, and so yeah.
That was like perfect timing. How'd the baby know? Perfect timing.
We're at like $1,500 left to get to that last stretch goal of the metal coin, and 35 minutes left to do so. So that's wonderful. We have Joe. We have Kyle. Oh yeah, look at that. Thanks, Sen. Look at that. Unbelievable. It's my absolute BHAG, if you've ever heard of that term before, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, was 400,000. So I'm amazed that we surpassed that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll finish with Joe. So we'll go next to Kyle. Kyle, we brought you on. It might not be a surprise to people who have played our games and read our rulebooks in the past, but we've had some challenges with rulebooks in the past, and it's a little bit because of the way that Off the Page Games likes to present games to gamers. Is we try to onboard them in some sort of training mission. In Hero Canada, we did this chapter system, And I think from that perspective, it's a win. But from the perspective of experienced gamers, or from as a reference tool, it's not a really good tool as a reference tool, because it's like, where is that? Is that in chapter 2 or chapter 1? Or where, like, so I didn't really think that through from that perspective of a rule book having multiple purposes. So we brought Kyle in to help us with our rules editing for Core Discovery. We have our core rule book that's got the fauna and flora in it, and then also the 4 expansion rules. And Kyle, tell us a little bit about, I don't know, any things that stood out as far as things that you remember through this process that maybe were, I don't know, things that stood out, I guess.
Well, it was like, it could see it from the way, like, just the entry point, the way you wanted to do it. You had the training mission that you introduced and stuff like that. But I remember originally you had the rule book set up in a way where it was like, you had it for the 1 chapter to set up the game, and it was going to be straightforward. It was just going to be like fauna, that's the setup, and then each chapter was going to be kind of an additive and reductive element to it. And not like, the big thing I suggest was just like it's not exactly a modular game, because it's like, you have your core game and then you have your piece that you add in that the way you want to play. So it's not like something where you're putting all kinds of pieces together, but I figured it would be better to treat it that way. So it was like, make the core game set up, get it that part done, and
That's
then
right.
Chapter is add what you need for the chapter, as opposed to like take
remove fauna stuff. Yeah, you're right. I remember that. It was here's the fauna rules, because that was the first game you played in our head. But yeah, it made everything more complicated. So yeah, that was a great first solve that you did for us. Is like, now the rules are like, here's just the rules you need in every single, no matter what game you play, here's the rules for the game. That you got to read that, and then here's the extra stuff for fauna, or here's the extra stuff for flora. And I think hopefully
it makes it easier to reference, hopefully, that way, because then it's like, core, you can get your core rules, and then it's like, I'm playing this chapter, I don't need to worry about looking somewhere else or like that kind of thing. So
yeah, I think so, right? Because if it's a core rule, you'd look up in the cores, but if it's something flora specific about a flora specific thing, you'd look it up in a flora rule book. So I think that's as easy as we're going to make that. Yeah, that's good. So and then Joe is, so Joe, for those that don't know this, Joe, during mind management, the campaign, Joe was just a very active backer, commenting in the comments field and often answering questions before I did, because he just was so active and he knew all the answers. I'm like, yeah, Joe was right. Yeah, what Joe said. And then I later on at the end of the campaign, I said, hey, we're doing some play tests for Harrow County, if anybody wants to join in. And Joe signed up right away, and he play tested a bunch. And eventually I just said, Joe, can I just hire you to do the things you're doing right now? Like, you're responding to emails, you're responding to backers and everything. And so now Joe's my customer solutions manager. He's like running the show. So if you ever have like a parts request, or if there's a shipping issue, or anything with regards to the customer service from Off the Page Games, you're probably going to be dealing with Joe, and that's at help@offthepagegames.com. And it's just been such a relief off of my shoulders to not have to get into the weeds of, and I don't mean to call them weeds, because they're important issues to everybody that has issues with parts and all this kind of stuff. But it's just a lot of work to do, when I'd rather be spending my time like running the business, or designing the next game, or playing Kickstarters, all this kind of stuff. So Joe takes all that off my plate, which is just wonderful. And then Joe, you actually started doing a brand new service for me recently.
Yeah. I'm helping out with social media side. So any of the posts to Facebook, to Twitter, to Instagram, those are generally from me. So better or for worse.
That's great.
And I was also helping out with all the preview copies that we sent out to the content creators, kind of making sure that they were moving along, that we were getting content on a timely basis, and all that good stuff. So lot to learn, lot to, thrown into the fire, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
And maybe talk about your wife's appreciation or not appreciation of your situation in the garage.
Yes. So I full-heartedly volunteered to, I'll send out the replacement pieces for North America. No big deal. And, a couple weeks later, about 9 boxes showed up with Harrow County and mind management stuff, just bags of a whole bunch of Henry Lime tokens and a whole bunch of step tokens and all that stuff. And then a couple weeks later, the reprinted items from Harrow County showed up. And that was like another 8 to 10 boxes. So I've got it more or less organized. She still hasn't gotten the garage back for her car yet, but you know, we're getting there. We're getting there.
At least it's the summer months now.
Right. Yeah.
But thank you so much for all that. That's amazing. And then Sen, well, I guess we haven't even talked to you, Sen. Everyone knows you,
whatever.
though.
I'm always here.
Tell us, for those that haven't tell us a little bit about the genesis of this game.
Oh, the genesis of this game? It came from an idea when we were talking to our friend John Bell, who is the inventor relations guy from Buffalo Games. They make a lot of games that are more mass market, and they make puzzles, and they recently consolidated with GameRight.
And they manufacture here in the United States. Like they have a factory in the United States that they
that we've visited. It's super fun.
Yeah, we visited.
I don't know if they do everything there, but they definitely do the puzzles there. Yeah. So anyways, John calls us up whenever he has a problem because he's like, you guys are smart. And actually, John goes way back with us to one of our first real stories about elevator pitches and why it's important to have your elevator pitch down is because quite literally, Jay was not at a game convention. He was at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And he was in an actual elevator with John Bell, and they were going upstairs or downstairs. I can't remember which direction you were going, but they were just talking to each other. Hey, I'm having a good con, blah, blah, blah. What do you do? I'm in games. What do you do? Well, I'm actually a game designer. And, you know, do you have 5 minutes for a pitch? And Jay had all of our shell sheets with him. And that's how we got
elevator pitch
to know John. And so John, when he has a problem or when he has an idea, he usually reaches out to us and says, hey, what do you think about this? And what he wanted was just a really fast thing that you could buy at the like checkout counter or wherever. And he wanted it based on like Survivor Man. Like, you know, a TV show about survival on an island, a desert island. And Jay and I are like, yeah, that sounds cool. What can we do? And then we thought about scratch and win tickets. And at the same time as we were doing this, Lucky Duck had a game that was on scratch and win tickets. And we had talked to Vince at Lucky Duck because I do Kingdom Rush through them. And Vince is like, don't do it, because they were having all this feedback from their backers about we don't want to waste and we don't want to do this stuff. So anyway,
environmental concerns.
Yeah. We had worked out this thing where the storyline was all about surviving on a deserted island. You were marooned and you had all these resources to find to survive. And eventually...
And no monsters.
No monsters. And no Lewis and Clark. John pitched it internally to the rest of the people at Buffalo Games. They weren't super hype about it because, you know, we were running out of the pandemic at the time, which is a good thing. But during the pandemic, there was a big demand for solo games. And he was like, well, why don't we just make a solo game? And this was that solo game. And then at the end of the pandemic, by the time we had it kind of ready to pitch internally, they were like, we're not doing that. We see the end. The end is nigh. Not the bad end, the good end, the end of the pandemic. And so Jay's like, well, do you mind if we do something with that? And so we started doing stuff with it. And because we know a lot of people in the comic industry, obviously through working in this particular venue, I just kind of put it on my Facebook. Hey, does anybody know any comics that are about exploration? And Trish Sidney from Skybound Image said, what about Manifest Destiny? And so we read it, we enjoyed it. We didn't love the title, but that Jay already talked about that. And so that all came together because of connections, right? So a lot of this industry is connections and just, I think, being professional. If nothing else, I think that's what, you know, Jay being able to pitch somebody in 5 seconds, holding up all the comics there, just knowing people in the industry who trust you with their babies. Like, this is like somebody's creative baby, right? And just like we had a baby on the stream before, we have to take care of that baby. They might be a little premature. And so, yeah, we took the game and we took the comic, we smashed them together. And it's one of those things where it's that lovely synergy of like, separately, they're both cool. But when you put them together, it's like, oh my gosh, this is really cool.
It's like world expanding.
Yeah. And you've heard Jay say it a zillion times on our live streams. He's like, I love this game. And he truly does. Like, he's not just saying that to sell you on it. He'll like talk about that time. Like, do you remember, Sen, when I turned over that thing and it wasn't a rock? It's like, yeah, Jay, I remember. He'll talk about
like, you don't
the
like to
next
choose
day.
your favorite babies, but this is probably my favorite game that I like to play because it's so puzzly and fun. And I don't want to disparage Howard County or Mind Management in any way, shape, or form. And they're both great, but man, I just love playing this game.
Yeah, so we have 3 babies, right? So Akrotiri is one of our favorite because Akrotiri historically was a game that it was the first game we made in a way, and we shelved it for like a decade, and because it sucked. And then we came back to a different game and said, well, it needs something to spice it up. What about that thing from that old game that we have on the shelf over there? And so Akrotiri was kind of a rebirth of an old design. So that kind of showed us that, hey, we knew what we were doing back then. We just didn't know enough. And then Mind Management really as another game that's a real testament to Jay, particularly for the birth of an imprint, right, which is the success of Off the Page Games stems solely from that, and that relationship is a very funny relationship to our relationship with Matt, and how we have that all from gamings and comic book. It's just quite a funny story. And then now this one being just constantly a fun puzzle, playing with Joe and everybody in the campaign was hilarious. It was just so funny just watching people think. Like, Luke was thinking up a storm. Like, every night he'd go to bed quite late, I think, wake up quite early, and like post about Let's Play. And he's just like, I think it's this and this and this. And he goes, oh, I'm too tired to talk about this now, but I'll get back up in the morning and I'll tell you then what I think. And so it was really nice to play with people asynchronously as well. I loved it. And I think that's a hallmark of a good game, that it can keep your interest over like international time zones, right? So anyways, that's
it was cool. Sorry,
go ahead.
It was cool to see people kind of take ownership of it. From first starting the game, I felt like I kind of had to prod people, or like, hey, what about this, or what about our gear, or this or that. And then by the time Fog rolled around, it was like, this is what you should do, Joe, and use this gear, and the next turn we'll do this, and da-da-da. They planned everything out, so really good one. Really good.
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't mind. I'm not one to like really hate alpha gamers in co-op games. For some reason, I don't like them in other games, but in co-op games, I don't mind them. Just because we're all trying to win. Oh, but speaking of trying to win, by the way, guys, we are 22 minutes to go, and it is currently
$111 to go.
Yeah, not anymore. It is now $84 to go.
Oh, it is. Ooh. For the metal coin. So we had this thing at the beginning of the campaign that if we got $200,000 in the first 48 hours, everyone would get this really cool metal coin that
made by who?
It was designed by Sebastian's wife, actually.
Yeah.
That's what she does. She designs 3D sculpts of coins, or
It's called Rocio.
Rocio, yes. But how does she know how to do that? Like, is that her job, or is she just a side thing?
She's a graphic designer like me and an illustrator.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
She's actually an illustrator on several board games.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. I didn't know that part.
We'll have to keep her name on file. There you go.
Yeah. And so we missed it by about 10 grand or so. And so I'm like, we'll put it at the end if we have time, if we hit everything. And I didn't know if we were gonna. And then this morning I wake up and I'm like, oof, we might get there. And we're now $84 away from hitting it. So we added it back on.
Wow, we are over. We are officially over.
What?
435,021. Woo!
Oh, hey, the West Coast just got it updated.
Party poppers and stuff.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Wow. That's great. So Sam, why don't you talk for a bit? I'm going to update this page to be the last thing of the page.
All right. So yeah, it was. This has been a great experience as a campaign. I mean, obviously, Jay and I have been part of lots of campaigns, but I don't think many people run campaigns like Jay does. Jay is just in there like a dirty shirt, 24/7. If he could, he would be up managing the campaign, trying to think of new ways for people to engage with other people. So I think
just look at the number of comments.
Yeah,
I was going to say, like, it was very interactive campaign like that. Like, it was great.
Mm-hmm. I can truly say he never stops. He always shows up at our meeting saying, hey, I have this idea every day.
Yes, I get to see the list of stuff that he's going to send to you. It's quite funny because so for those of you who don't know, Sebastian is like in the earlier time zone, and then I'm in the next time zone, and Jay's in the last time zone in our little chain of events. And so Jay and I will talk like at 3 a.m, which is 12 his time, but 3 a.m. my time. And then he'll write a note to Sebastian. He'll wake up like 4 hours later, which is really, you know, not early for him, but just the regular time to wake up. And then I'll see the results in the morning, and then Jay will get them after I do. And then it's this whole chain of events, which is pretty funny. It actually works kind of well that we're in different time zones anyways.
I gotta poke Sebastian. Did you get my message to you? We have to change one graphic thing. Yes? Okay.
I'm doing it as we speak.
Thank you.
See, I like that you're, you know, you're
Still working.
double
Well, because the thing about running a Kickstarter campaign is that once we hit in 19 minutes, the page locks. You can't
we
can't edit a single thing. So we want to make sure the page looks like we want it to look forever after this, right? So it's a great, because this page, it's great for the campaign, but it also acts as a great sales tool for a long time after this, including for foreign partners that want information about the game.
Yeah, that's a really good pro tip for those of you who are ever thinking about running your own campaigns, is that the end result of this is like, that's your timestamp, right? That you can show off and keep referring to. And we do use this to refer to foreign licensing partners. In new campaigns, we'll use old campaigns, all that kind of stuff. Russell, thank you for making it for the final 20 minutes. I love your blonde hair. Luke is saying that really it's been one of the best campaigns. Oh no, truly the best. Sorry, I paraphrased and I downplayed it. Truly the best Kickstarter campaign that I've been a part of. I've been on Kickstarter since 2013, and none of them have been this much fun.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, buddy. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and that's a huge credit to Jay and how he wants campaigns to run. And so again, if you're out there thinking about running a campaign, this is a template that you can maybe try to think about. Like, how does Jay do it?
I'm going to throw some kudos at Helena Capel, because whenever you're trying to do something and you want to do really well, you kind of emulate people that have already done really well. And so Helena has Burnt Island Games as well as Kids Table Board Games as two publishing companies she owns. And she published one of the games I designed was In the Hall of the Mountain King. And that plus all the other campaigns. And her husband is Josh Capel, who did the art and graphic design for Belfort, Sen and I's first signed game.
And our co-designer on Rock Paper Wizards.
And co-designer Rock Paper Wizards.
And all the other variants of that.
So they're like family. But how she runs her campaign and her business, I just emulated. Sometimes without even researching. I'm like, if she did it, I'm just doing what she did. Like, it's got to be a good decision. And so I just would emulate, and it's worked out wonders. And so I tweak the formula here and there. But a lot of the things she did, I'm just doing.
Skaz is bigging up the number 124. Skaz was in the comments just calculating how many maps there are going to be in the final.
126. Don't forget about the training missions.
They count. Totally count. I mean, because, obviously somebody has to make some kind of doohickey that'll hold them all, right? Somebody out there?
Somebody needs a box tall enough to hold them all.
Right. That's the last few weeks I've been messaging Daniel, and he's like, I know you're not going to answer this because you got a baby to feed.
But how about a couple more maps?
Yeah, that works. I mean, and I was realizing that in the animation for the Ultimate Edition, that you can actually see the coin in there. So thank you, everyone, for being able to make my animation true that the coin is in there.
Everything is, there's definitely a lot of last minute stuff, so that's hilarious. We got the coin. The animation is not a lie. It's true.
No, Luke, you would have had fun. We hunted people down in my management. It was great.
Yeah, we literally had a secret mission that people had to go on, and it involved going to other campaigns. I partnered with other campaign people, and they put messages in their campaign, secret messages.
So it's all about secret messages.
We hid in other videos, right? We hid
other videos. Messages. Yes,
we did a lot of sneaky
reviewers.
stuff.
Reviewers, I gave them codes that they had to hide in their video review. And so people were scouring, trying to solve, and there was a really active Board Game Geek forum thread, and they even appointed themselves the annulment department. Is what they called themselves. And Joe was part of that.
Yeah, that's right.
He was part of the annulment department.
I think Joe might have been the ringleader. I don't know.
That was Dan. Dan definitely took the reins.
Oh, Dan. Okay. Just Rodriguez, you have 15 minutes left, buddy. Go support it.
Throw a link. Can you throw a link up in the comments, or how do you do that?
I can. Let's add an item here.
Thanks for coming by. That's awesome.
So, Skaz is saying that training missions don't count.
Well, I didn't really mention too much. I had to put them in one of the updates. I put it in there just because it's like, oh, we have actual training missions. The training missions aren't the 7x7 grid. Like, we actually made it a 5x5 grid, and it has a small reference board that's just smaller, and it only has 4 resources. So it just gets you into the mode of like, oh, one wood per row and column, therefore this, and it actually just without as much pressure, and it's like takes maybe 10 minutes to play it. So I think it's a great way to just get your mind start to think, because sometimes that reference board can be a lot to look at the very first time, because there's a lot of rules and references, and you're like, and it can be intimidating. So just check out the training mission, and that'll ease people in, and then you can segue very easily into the full game after that. Luke
is searching for a postcard for the mind management box. Just
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. I saw your message on that, Luke. It's I literally it's sitting right here. You mean this postcard? That's another part of our PR, is that this is a postcard I was giving away before the Kickstarter campaign. And as I gave it to people who never heard of this game, I said, hey, hang on to this because it might actually have some in-game value. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's a postcard. But on the back, it has like secret weird scribbles and codes. And if you line this up to a page in the rule book, it helps get access to a secret card that you can get.
Great. Screen capture.
Yeah. Oh, it's this is on Board Game Geek if you want to grab this.
Yeah. So there's the link for y'all. I think that's my actual reference code. So it'll just look like everybody will look at Sen. But you could probably just get to it without the reference code, probably that first line. If you just search for Core of Discovery on Kickstarter, you should find it. There's 12 minutes left. We are currently at 3,190 backers, and we are at $436,000, 839. That's Canadian, guys. So that's like, I don't know, 5,000 US. I don't know. Who knows? But it's enough for us to print, which is good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where do you think most of our backers came from? Of course, it is US.
US. Oh, yeah, you got the stats.
What's number 2? Without clicking. Don't click, everybody. Number 2 country?
Canada.
Woo!
Now it starts getting more tricky. Anybody for next 2 or 3? Any guesses for the next 2 or 3?
UK?
UK is 4th.
What's 3rd?
Something European, probably.
I think chocolate.
Germany?
Oh.
Yeah.
Germany.
The land of chocolate.
The land of chocolate.
Ooh, the Germans.
The Germans are coming.
It's a Simpsons.
Yes.
And then Australia.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. And the city that support us the most is weird because it's not even in the States.
Oh, which one is it?
London.
London, like Ontario, Canada?
No.
Oh.
UK.
Oh, hey, it's our friend with the earrings, who is like the best mind management player in the world.
Well, now you have it. Okay, good. Out of all of our backers, how many do you think are brand new backers to Kickstarter that's never backed before on Kickstarter?
Oh, that's a great question. I love this one. 13%. Just because
number, just an actual physical.
Oh,
number.
an actual physical number?
Never backed. Anybody guess?
450.
Okay.
451.
Oh my gosh! Is somebody gonna say
price
1?
Is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
$1.
Check the Discord.
I will. Thank you. 53.
Oh, that's
pretty low.
That's pretty low. Interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, Sen, you take over. I got to update this.
All right.
Or anybody anybody have a cool story about this game or anything that they remember?
Well, Gaz is saying that the Swiss will go berserk if they hear that Germany is the land of chocolate. And K Rabbit 32 is saying if you want any themed earrings for the games, just let them know. We'll have to pierce Jay's ears though.
Oh, no.
I think mine's all closed.
The story about that is that I was at the it was TokenCon, I believe. and Kira was there, and she was playing. I think she was playing Core Discovery, and I saw her earrings. I'm like, hold on a second, and I'm like, look at her earrings. I'm like, are those? And she made Black Ops Dolphin earrings.
Yes.
And for those that don't know what that is, that's a card from my management board game. She turned the dolphin in there into earrings. This is amazing.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Luke does want to know specifically how many backers were from Peterborough, the UK, not
Oh, I was about to say
Canada.
I've been to Peterborough. I don't know if it says it only gives it the top, unless that's like top. It doesn't give me all cities. London was top, and then number 2 city, Montreal, Canada.
Oh,
Montreal, eh?
And then Seattle, then Sydney, then Vancouver, because we got local pickup. That's where I live. Chicago, LA, Portland, Melbourne, and Toronto.
That's actually interesting. Those stats are actually kind of cool.
It's wild since there's a huge majority, 1,864 backers from the US.
And
the next highest is 226 from Canada.
Can we see where those are?
Yeah,
like
you click community.
In all the other in the past campaigns still is the stats
Yep,
still
just
there?
click community, yeah.
Because I would love to see that. My data brain is going. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And then let's see, how many times do you think the video was played, Ori?
Yeah, I hope closer to the backer count. I mean,
5,686.
Oh, whoa!
Whoa, that's awesome.
Nice.
That means that a lot of backers watch it more than once.
No, or people watch it and then they
They
say,
just
this
watch it
video
and then-
sucks. I
and
don't
then
want
just-
this game.
All right,
Which is
all
okay.
right. How much is the completion rate?
Yeah, what's the completion? What
I
percentage
need-
of people complete watching the video?
I need above 42%. That's my metric.
Well, then
this
you'll
is
like
a long video. I'm not expecting
48.43.
48. Wow,
Hey.
that's amazing.
And then
Wow.
of the people that said, followed me either early on or have clicked remind me at any point during the campaign, we had 6,695 people do that. What percentage of those have been converted into backers?
Oh, less than 50.
28.
Yeah, that's 32.
What do you say, Daniel? 10? 10? 32?
10 is what you want to see on the first day.
Yeah. We got 26. Really
Okay.
good.
That's great.
Still good.
We were at 21% for Harrow County. So this is great. I was hoping to get to 25. So that we're at 26 is amazing.
I mean, so if you compare it to our past campaigns, like we are doing better
Better
each
and better
one,
every time, yeah.
which isn't just inflation.
No,
Also,
it's because we're carrying along backers from previous campaigns who liked our previous games
yeah.
and campaigns and want to stick around.
And the other thing that's really cool is that it's not necessarily true when you get everything, but this is our cheapest game ever.
True. But I like how
Face unit.
what's his name? Who did it? Bauer. He does that. He analyzes Kickstarter pages, not the game at all, just the page, which is like for me obviously very interesting. But he called it a great Trojan horse of like $39 is like, oh, this is great. And then you're like, oh, $59 for deluxe. That's great. $20 more for deluxe is great. And then it's like, boom, here's the ultimate for double that. And he's like, oh, but there's 4 expansions. And he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm like, he's like, that's the perfect way to do it. Like you get people in, and then you slowly like, well, what about this? What about that? I'm not doing it to manipulate people. I'm just like, that's how you do it.
Well, you offer them something and they find out they like it, they buy more. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal. It's
That's-
it's not a far jump from like 39 to 59 to whatever, right?
Yeah.
Psychology. So for those of you out there who are watching who haven't backed yet, I don't know what you're doing, but there's 5 minutes left. And if you go to that Kickstarter link at the bottom there, search for Core Discovery, you will find it. There are 5 minutes left. We are at 3,200 backers, which is absolutely making my day. And this thing's going to print. So jump on board that
Yeah.
Core
And I'll-
Discovery train.
I'll let you know that we signed up to this beta thing on Kickstarter that they're just testing out, and it's I don't know what they call it. It's not late pledge.
What
I'm
is
not
it?
sure what they're calling it.
Oh,
But
that one, yeah.
you can still continue to back the game even after 5 minutes from now on Kickstarter. is still going to be active. It doesn't help towards any other stretch goals, of which we have no more. We have exhausted all of our stretch goals, people.
Yeah, please don't ask me for anymore. I can't think about it anymore. And Dan doesn't
even
want
though last
anymore
night
to
I was
build
talking
a
to Sen, I'm
box
like,
around.
Sen, what do we need?
He
What if
did.
we
He
this?
literally said, "What if we had like a couple more?
Somethings, but we don't need it. We got it all. We
Don't
have
need
everything.
Can't have them, guys. Sorry.
Save it for the reprint.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Well, we actually have, and as for a tease, we have been working on another expansion for this. Actually, brainstorming and working on it. There's a big thing that happens in the comic that's not represented in this game yet, and so that would be ideal. And
yeah, that exact one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have some ideas, and we just haven't tested them yet. So we didn't want to. We knew we weren't going to include it in here in this campaign ever. It's just if the opportunity comes such that this becomes a hit, and it kind of is, but if it becomes a hit like in retail and stuff, then we'll maybe do another campaign or something with this new expansion, which I think will be an expansion that can be used in other chapters, kind of an expansion.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's actually been a funny thing that as we play the game more and people give us comments and people are looking at it from an outside point of view, they've just given us more and more ideas about things that could possibly happen, right? Which has been great. Like the whole package of the game anyways, honestly wouldn't be what it will be without the campaign, without the backers. There's a lot of stuff in there that is backer filter.
Feedback. Yeah.
Yeah,
we did the dual layer supply board. I wasn't going to do that for the Ultimate. I didn't really think about that was necessary, but we had a lot of demand for that. So we said, yeah, let's make that a high stretch goal. And if we make it, we'll do it. And we did. And then we had 2 contests, one to make your own gear. And we had 2 amazing entries that we ended up giving 2 winners for that one. So there's one called the Sounding Horn and another one called the Hadley's Quadrant that we added as 2 gear to the game. And then we also had a threat contest, which we kind of eventually retitled to a misfortune contest for these non-monster threat cards that currently in the game, it was always just injured and chased. You're always getting injured or chased if it's not a monster. And so we decided to add more misfortunes. And now the idea is, and this came throughout the campaign because of backers, you shuffle up the misfortune cards and you take 3 out and shuffle them in with your monsters. And now every game you're going to have different misfortunes, not just always chased and injured that you can kind of plan for. And so this is now going to be a surprise. You're like, what's this? Disrespecting the land. What happens? What do I do? Like it's great. And it's given us a little bit more opportunity to tell a little bit more of the darker side of the story of the comic book through these misfortune cards, which has also been something that people have been kind of talking about on our Discord channel and whatnot. So
yes, thanks for those people as well who are taking us to task on a couple things, which is good.
Right from the Space Biff review, which was amazing review, but was like he wasn't disappointed in it, but because the game is so good, I wanted more out of the game because the comic approaches the subject matter in a way that the game kind of just skirts around, and he wishes there was a bit more direct on discussion or stuff about it. And so we're like, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. We were trying to skirt around it because we're just careful. But there's some things that we could do, like disrespecting the land is a card where, like, if you can't predict the land you're going to take, you get some sort of penalty. So that's because you're disrespecting the land. And like, that's, starting to show that the, starting to show that the Lewis and Clark aren't necessarily the good guys in this whole story.
Oh, not at all. I think this comic has the best final panel I've ever seen in a comic book. Ever.
No spoilers, but yeah.
No spoilers.
I like that all 3 of the comics we've done so far all have a conclusion. They're all standalone stories, which is just wonderful. 1 minute, final minute of play. This is amazing. Well, thanks everybody for being on the call with us. This has been truly an amazing campaign. Couldn't have done any of this without all of y'all. So this has just been great. And this last hour has been super great to hang out with everybody. I had to get somebody else to come pick my kids up to drive them to school. I'm like, oh man, I did not plan this correctly. The timing, I just said a number, like how many days from now. I'm like, 21 days. That's the number of days you should have a campaign nowadays. And I didn't see that it lined it up to like right now. I'm like, oh, that was a bad time. You don't end a campaign at 10 in the morning PST. That's terrible. Especially if you have kids. 20 seconds again, $438,000 ish. That's great. Whew.
That's awesome.
Whew. It's totally amazing. We got to do.
We're doing this. 10, 9,
10, 9, 8, 7,
7,
6,
6,
5,
5,
4,
4, 3,
2, 1.
1.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Confetti!
Wow, fantastic.
Like we're all going with the slightly different levels of lag, and
yes, that's great.
Such a journey.
Amazing.
Thanks everybody for being on the call. Thanks for anybody who was watching as we did this fun little time. I love doing these things. Yes, Luke, go read all the comics. Yes,
that's my favorite comment.
Yes.
Thanks, Luke, because that was our
You win,
purpose.
Luke.
We something. We love these comics and we love the creators that we get to work with. And the idea of working in IP is truly to extend the brand, right? To extend the brand so that everybody benefits from that, not just us who get, a fan base, but the original comics creators who we adore, who then may get a reprint out of this, right? That's what happened to my management for sure. The popularity just went like, oh, I guess people want this comic now. So it's a really good thing for everybody involved when, you can pair up good game design with great comics, or great game design even with good comics, or both are great. I don't know. And make a product that fans who are underserviced really do want. So that's our goal.
Awesome.
And I think we accomplished it. So thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you all. Appreciate all your help you've done to get us here, and hopefully see you all on our next campaign.
And thank you, Jay, the man.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.